Next thing we're going to go over is navigating through a deviation. When you're in a training center like ours, you'll notice that there is a positioner, a work positioner to keep you in close to the deviation and make it a little bit easier to navigate, but also to ensure that when you move the anchor around your ropes, it's going to prevent you from swinging away from the column or whatever you're deviated towards. So the objective here is basically we want to ascend close to this central column here. And then once we navigate through this deviation anchor, we're going to be hanging directly underneath our anchors. So what I like to say in terms of the deviation is when you do something like the knot pass, you're moving your equipment around the obstacle, but in the case of a deviation, you're actually moving the obstacle around all of your equipment, which you'll see in just a second. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of rope off of the floor and tie a BFK, big fat knot. I like to use something with a little bit of extra size to it, like a figure 8 rather than an overhand, because if you do have a large carabiner, it can pop through. So I'd recommend like either a figure 8 or an alpine butterfly, something fairly large, so that way it will actually block through that deviation anchor when you're wanting to come back. And you can also make sure you have a way back via your positioner as well, but that'll be optional. The important thing that Sprat is looking for is your big fat knot. So what we're going to want to do here is we're actually going to want to start ascending on our descender. This is so that it just makes navigating through the deviation a little bit easier, and it saves us a changeover. So this is just a better way to start. If you find yourself ascending on your chest ascender here, you probably want to fix that before you start, ideally. If you do forget and you do start ascending on your chest ascender, you can always do a changeover. You can do it, remember, for all of these, everything in level 1, you can do a changeover at any time. If you find yourself in the wrong equipment for the task that you're going to be performing, you can just always do a changeover. And I always tell people that in my classes. So you're going to ascend on your descender using the RAD method, the rapid ascent on a descender. And we're only going to need one backup for this exercise. Now, you do keep both of your backups on you, but if you are using 2 backups for this, you're making it way harder than it needs to be. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you're doing something incorrectly. So I'm gonna get everything nice and high and tight, because as soon as our feet leave the ground, we are the equivalent of 1,000 feet up in the air. So, a couple bumps, bump up, a couple more bumps, ASAP up, a couple more bumps, ASAP up. Now we get to the point where we're going to start running out of room. So we're actually going to want to take this redirect out and start fist bumping the ceiling. And once we get up here, we want to be about eye level with our deviation anchor in order to easily do this. So we do want to be a little bit higher. Move everything high. Bump up. You go even a little bit higher. I'm not quite eye level with my deviation anchor yet. A little bit higher. Bump up. But do remember, You don't want to push this up so high to where you can't push it up anymore and then jam your ascender up here, because this will be very, very, very hard to get out of. So you want to make sure, okay, I'm at eye level. Right now, I'm good to go. I don't need to get any higher, because now I'm going to start moving the anchor around all of my equipment. So I like to give myself a little extra room by taking the ascender off. You don't have to do this. This is just a personal preference. You can leave it on. And then I like to take my positioner. Might be a Grion, might be something else. In this case, it's something else. Put it on the side of my two tails. Some people will put it in the middle, and then they'll be like, oh, I want to adjust stuff, but I can't. Not a big deal. You can still do this with it being in the middle. It'll be nice and clean and clear though if it's off to the side. Now I can add before I subtract and load my tails into the new rope. I still have tension on this rope, so what I need to do is pull inwards with my positioning device, and now this is slack. Easy peasy. Remove this, let it dangle, that's fine. You still have your way back here, and I'm going to show you how to keep a way back on your positioner. Now you're going to descend on your positioner till you're in plumb. If you need a little more, usually most positioners have the option to squeeze the cam. Squeeze the cam, get that out there. Now I'm going to take this off and place it on my ropes right here. So now if I did happen to forget that BFK down on the ground, I still have a way to get over, because this will stay with me. So now I'm going to pop my hand ascender back on. Like I said, this is a personal preference of mine. You don't have to take your hand ascender off. I just like that extra room. Now you take the tail that's running through there, that's fine. Bring your ASAP nice and high. And bump up a couple extra moves just to show whoever's watching you, be it the evaluator or your trainer, that you are no longer attached to your deviation anchor. Once you've shown that if you want to go up to the ceiling, you can, but you don't really need to in a training environment. Obviously, if I did have to go work on those lights or something, I'd be going all the way up there. But in this case, we're going to call this good, because we're not attached to the deviation anchor. We've shown that, we're ready to come down. So now I will disassemble my hand ascender. I just can now just descend. I don't have to do a changeover. Make sure your ASAP is tracking you. Head on down. And again, you want to be eye level with the with your deviation anchor. In this case, I know that I'm going to raise a little bit when I go forward towards it. So I'm actually going to go slightly lower to where now the top of my helmet is level with the deviation anchor. That's going to be about what you want for going down, because when you move closer to the deviation anchor, you're actually going to end up a little bit higher on the ropes, just because everything's vectoring. So now, either I can just grab my positioner, or I'll show, say you didn't keep your positioner on the ropes, which is also fine. The only thing that Sprat needs you to do is use a knot to block and pull yourself over. So now I can grab the positioner. I like to grab the positioner rather than the anchors, because once I have this, all I gotta do is kind of keep everything on one side again is a good idea. And it's all right if you've got a big old loop here, that's okay. I'm gonna fix that in a second. Pull this tight again. And if you pull towards your device and away from your device at the same time, it's still a 1-to-1, but your body is acting as a 2-to-1 because you're pulling in and pulling out and away at the same time. So your body is effectively making itself a 2-to-1. So I noticed that I kind of got a little higher when I vectored myself over. I don't want to descend too low because I can't be hanging in this deviation anchor, because in this case, yeah, this is a training environment and this is a full strength anchor, but in real life this might not be a full strength anchor, so I can't be actually hanging on this. I can only be using it to move me over a little bit. But because I'm high, I'm going to descend just a tiny bit just to make it a little easier to get the free side of this anchor above my gear. So I don't want to bring my ASAP way down here. I just want to bring it slightly down, just enough to get it and my main line on. If I need to go a little closer, I can go a little closer, but I already got it on, so I don't need to. So I'm going to release this, and again, squeeze the device or squeeze the cam to override it. Now I can let this device dangle. Now, like I said, you don't have to worry about this loop because you're taking this loop completely out. Because now I'm back in the deviation anchor. Send that down nice and gentle. Now I'm back in the deviation anchor. I can even scoot that up a little bit more again, like I did before. Just to give myself a little more room. Head on down. And I'm all done. Make sure to restash your handle descender if you did leave it dangling, so that way you're not going to be tripping over it. Because again, in here, controlled environment, not really a huge deal to trip on it, but could sprain an ankle, something like that. But when you're out in the real world, you might be, maybe more than the federally mandated 6 feet away from an unprotected edge. You trip over your handle descender, you can still just try to catch yourself all the way off to the side of that building. So, you want to make sure you're keeping everything nice and neat and tidy. That is very important in the world of rope access.